Imagine if a few ancient principles could instantly change how you see the world and improve your life. Sounds unbelievable, right? Don't skip a second of this video, because I'm going to share 12 Stoic life rules that can truly change everything for you, starting right now. These aren't dry historical lessons. They're practical rules you can use today. And you might be surprised by how much they resonate with your own life. These rules have stood the test of time for a reason. They work. Each rule comes from Stoic philosophy, a 2,000-year-old wisdom tradition, but we'll talk about them in a down-to-earth way. The beauty of Stoicism is that it's all about action and mindset, not theory. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of perspectives that can help you handle anything from everyday hassles to life's biggest challenges. Stick around for all 12, because the last one ties everything together in a way that might just shift your perspective forever. Let's dive in with rule number 1. Rule 1. Focus on what you can control. Think about the last time you felt anxious or frustrated. Maybe it was waiting for a job interview result or watching the news spiral into bad headlines. It's easy to get worked up over things we can't change. Stoic rule number 1 is a game changer. Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Here's why this rule matters so much. When you spend energy worrying about things beyond your control, like other people's decisions, the weather, or the past, you end up exhausted and powerless. But when you shift that energy to the things within your control, your own actions, your effort, your attitude, you start to feel more calm and effective. Imagine you're planning an outdoor event and suddenly it starts to rain. You could rage at the sky or panic. We've all been there. But none of that stops the rain. Or you could accept it and move the party indoors, maybe even make a joke about it. You can't control the rain, but you can control how you respond to it. When you really embrace this, it's liberating. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstance and start feeling like the author of your own life. Here's another way to look at it. Suppose a friend seems distant or upset with you. You cannot control your friend's feelings directly. That's up to them. But you can control what you do about it. You might decide to kindly ask if something's wrong, or apologize if you think you hurt them, or simply give them space and be supportive. You can't choose their response, but you can choose your own actions and attitude. By focusing on being the best friend you can be, what you control, instead of obsessing over what's in their head, what you don't control, you'll feel more at peace no matter the outcome. This rule is essentially captured by the famous idea: have the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The Stoics lived by that wisdom. When you start living by it too, stress reduces and you reclaim a sense of agency in your life. This mindset shift takes practice. Next time you catch yourself obsessing over something external, like a rude comment someone made or a mistake that already happened, pause and ask yourself, can I control this? If not, take a deep breath and mentally let it go. Direct your focus to what is in your control, even if it's just your own next move or your mindset. For example, say you didn't get the job you wanted. You can't control that decision now. What you can control is what you do next. Update your resume, apply to new positions, maybe even learn a new skill to boost your chances. It's like the Stoic reminder: you may not control the situation, but you control your reaction and efforts. What you do next is what matters most. By consistently focusing on your sphere of control, you'll notice something amazing. Your anxiety drops, and your influence actually grows. You become more effective because you're not wasting energy on the impossible. This first rule sets the foundation for all the others, because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own mind. When you live by it, life feels a lot less chaotic and a lot more manageable. Rule 2. Embrace whatever happens. Love your fate. Life is full of surprises, not all of them pleasant. You plan a picnic and it pours rain. You work hard for months and the project gets cancelled. It's normal to feel disappointed or upset when things don't go our way. But Stoic rule number 2 encourages a radical approach. Embrace whatever happens as if you chose it. In Latin, the Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate. What does that mean, to love whatever happens? It doesn't mean you have to literally enjoy every misfortune or pretend that pain is fun. It means accepting reality fully, even the tough parts, and deciding to work with it rather than against it. When you embrace what happens, you stop shouting, "Why me?" at the universe and start asking, "How can I make the best of this?" Picture this. You're stuck in a massive traffic jam on the way to an important event. You could honk and fume, but the traffic isn't going to magically clear. Instead, you choose to embrace the situation. Maybe you call ahead to adjust the meeting time, or you use the quiet car time to listen to an audiobook you've been meaning to catch up on. It's not what you planned, but it is what it is, so you make it useful. That's amor fati in everyday life. Embracing your fate is powerful because it turns every experience, even the bad ones, into something valuable. Lost that job? It might push you to find a better opportunity or start your own business. Missed a flight? Perhaps you'll have an unexpected extra day to rest or explore a new place. When you adopt this mindset, setbacks feel less like the end of the world and more like plot twists in your story. Now, loving your fate doesn't mean resignation or apathy. It's not saying, "I can't change anything, so whatever." It's more like saying, "This happened. I may not have wanted it, but I'll find a way to benefit or learn from it." You still do everything you can to create a good outcome. Remember rule 1, control what you can. But once something is reality, you accept it wholeheartedly. This attitude makes you incredibly resilient. People around you might crumble or complain when things go wrong, but you'll be the one adapting, even finding the silver lining. Instead of wasting energy on wishing things were different, you channel that energy into responding effectively. It's a kind of mental judo. You use the weight of events to propel yourself forward. History is full of examples of this mindset. One famous story is about inventor Thomas Edison. In 1914, his laboratory and factory caught fire and burned down, destroying years of expensive equipment and research. Instead of despairing, Edison reportedly told his son, "Go get your mother. She'll never see another fire like this." He accepted the disaster with almost a sense of wonder. The next day, looking at the ruins, Edison said all his mistakes were burned up in the fire, so he could start fresh. And he did. He rebuilt his facility and kept working, inventing and improving. Edison essentially turned a devastating setback into a clean slate. That's amor fati in action, embracing reality so you can move forward even when reality is harsh. Try this next time you face an inconvenience or a crisis. Tell yourself, "This is what my life is giving me right now, so I'm going to make the most of it." It might feel weird at first, but with practice, you'll start bouncing back faster. Embracing whatever happens turns every moment into a usable moment, and that can change everything about how you experience life. Rule 3, turn obstacles into opportunities. We all face obstacles in life, big and small. It could be as minor as your internet going down during a work deadline, or as major as a health issue disrupting your plans. Rule number 3 invites you to see these obstacles in a new light. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. It's about changing your perspective on problems. Imagine a friend who loses their job unexpectedly. Naturally, they're upset and scared. But suppose after the initial shock, they decide to treat this setback as a chance to rethink their career. Maybe they finally start that business they always dreamed about, or they find a job in a field they're more passionate about. A year later, they might even say, losing that original job was the best thing that happened to them. What changed? The situation, job loss, became an opportunity, new path, because of how they interpreted it and acted on it. That's the power of this rule. When something goes wrong, you pause and ask, where is the opportunity here? How can I turn this around or learn from it? It shifts you from feeling like the victim of a problem to the student of it, or even the beneficiary of it. The problem becomes a teacher or a stepping stone. This isn't just positive thinking fluff. It's very practical. Let's say you're trying to learn a new skill and you keep stumbling. The obstacle is that it's harder than you thought. The opportunity? Each stumble is showing you where you need to grow. It's teaching you patience and technique. Or consider you had plans to travel, but your trip got cancelled. Now you have time and money you can invest elsewhere, perhaps taking a course or spending time with family. The cancelled trip, obstacle, opened up space for something beneficial, opportunity. Sometimes the opportunities are not obvious. It might take creativity to find them. And to be fair, some problems feel just plain awful in the moment. The Stoic approach doesn't deny the pain or difficulty. It simply says that hidden within every tough situation is a potential advantage if you look for it. It's like how a tough workout makes you stronger physically. A tough life event can make you stronger or lead to growth in ways you didn't expect. In fact, the Stoics had a saying, "The obstacle is the way." By that, they meant the challenge in front of you becomes the path you need to take. The block becomes a building block. For instance, someone who grows up in tough circumstances often develops a remarkable strength and resourcefulness precisely because of those challenges. Or if you find yourself lonely and isolated, the obstacle, that pain might push you to reach out, join a community, or reconnect with old friends, leading you to new relationships and support, the opportunity. In each case, the problem sparks a solution or a personal growth that might not have happened otherwise. By adopting this mindset, you become almost unstoppable. Why? Because if every time life knocks you down, you see it as a chance to come back wiser or stronger, then setbacks lose their power to completely defeat you. Even when you fail, you win, because you gain insight, resilience, or a new direction. Next time you hit a wall, remember this rule. Ask yourself, how can this make me better? What can I do with this? It might not change the situation overnight, but it will change how you feel about it. And often, that shift in attitude is exactly what opens the door to a new opportunity. Rule 4, train your mind to respond, not react. Have you ever sent an angry text or email in the heat of the moment and later wished you hadn't? Or maybe someone cut you off in traffic and you spent the next hour fuming. It's so easy to react on impulse when something provokes us. Stoic rule number 4 is your reminder to slow down and choose your response instead of reacting blindly. In short, respond, don't react. Picture a scenario. You're at work and a colleague unexpectedly criticizes you in a meeting. A knee-jerk reaction might be to snap back defensively or feel crushed and shut down. But what if instead you take a silent, deep breath and give yourself a second to think? You might realize the critique, though harsh, has a point you can learn from. Or maybe you see that your colleague is stressed and lashing out, and it's not really about you. By pausing, you gain clarity. Then you can respond calmly, maybe by saying, "I hear your feedback. Let's discuss how I can improve this." Or by addressing the comment later in private. The outcome will almost certainly be better than an off-the-cuff retaliation. Responding rather than reacting puts you back in control. When we react without thinking, we're basically letting our emotions run the show. It's like being a puppet. Someone pulls the string, does something we don't like, and we jerk in response. But when you respond, you cut those strings. You take a moment to decide, how do I actually want to handle this? This rule is especially helpful with anger and anxiety. A Stoic might remind themselves that it's not the event that upsets us, but our judgment of the event. If someone insults you, you can choose not to take it personally. After all, the insult is just words, and maybe that person is having a bad day or a bad life. If you face a sudden problem, you can panic, reaction, or you can pause and gather facts, response. Training yourself to respond takes practice, but it's doable. The next time you feel that surge of anger or panic, try to do one simple thing. Pause. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. Count to 5 in your head. This creates a little gap between the trigger and your action. In that gap, remind yourself of the person you want to be, likely calm, wise, and in control. and then act from that place. This applies in family life as well. Say your child or younger sibling accidentally makes a mess or breaks something valuable. Your gut reaction might be to yell or punish in anger. But take that breath. If you respond with measured understanding, explaining what went wrong and how to fix it, you not only avoid a big emotional blow-up, you teach them something and keep the peace. By responding instead of reacting, the whole household stays calmer and happier. One amazing thing you'll notice: when you stay composed, it often influences others to calm down too. Your response can set the tone for everyone around you. In that work meeting, if you keep your cool, the discussion stays productive. With that angry driver, if you don't engage, the conflict ends with just one person's anger instead of two. Responding with calm is contagious in a good way. You'll find that with time, the gap gets bigger and your reactions get slower and more measured. You might still feel the flash of anger or fear, we're only human, but you won't be ruled by it. You'll be able to say to yourself, okay, this happened. What's the best response here? And that response might even be no response at all, just letting it go. By responding thoughtfully, you not only avoid regrets from saying or doing things in anger, you also start to feel a new kind of confidence. You're no longer at the mercy of every provocation. You carry your own calm atmosphere with you, and that is an incredibly powerful change in life. Rule 5. Prepare for the unexpected. Practice negative visualization. Life has a way of throwing curveballs when we least expect them. The Stoics came up with a fascinating exercise to deal with this: negative visualization. It sounds, well, negative, but it's actually a positive way to strengthen your mind. Rule number 5 is to regularly imagine things that could go wrong or be taken away, so that you're not devastated when life happens. Why on earth would we want to think about bad things on purpose? Think of it like a fire drill for your mind. In a fire drill, you practice what to do if there's a fire. So if it ever really happens, you won't panic and you'll know how to react. Negative visualization is a mental fire drill. You gently rehearse difficulties, so if they occur, you're more prepared to handle them. For example, in the morning you might take a minute to imagine some challenges in your day. My commute might be slow, my boss might pile on extra work, or maybe I'll get some bad news from a client. By envisioning these things calmly, you're not hoping they happen, but you're reminding yourself they could. So if any of those things, or something like them, does happen, your mind goes, I expected something like this. I know I can deal with it. Instead of feeling shock or outrage, you move more smoothly into problem solving or acceptance mode. Negative visualization also has a beautiful side effect. It makes you appreciate what you have. When you imagine losing something, say you picture what if you lost your ability to see for a day, you tend to feel really grateful when you open your eyes and look around. If you imagine, just for a moment, what if I didn't have this job? Then even a rough workday might feel easier, because hey, at least you have a job. The Stoics would even say to occasionally imagine losing loved ones, not to be morbid, but to remind yourself to cherish them deeply right now and not take them for granted. This practice isn't about living in fear of what could happen. In fact, it often reduces fear. When you're mentally prepared for a variety of outcomes, you feel more confident that you can handle whatever comes. It's when we assume everything will always go perfectly that we get shattered by even minor hiccups. Stoicism suggests, anticipate adversity, and it will weigh less on you. How do you do it? You can set aside a few minutes each day, or just now and then, to quietly reflect on things you value and imagine life without them. Or think of a plan going awry and see yourself managing it. The key is to do it with a calm spirit. You're not worrying excessively, you're preparing. It's a big difference. After you visualize the negative, you often feel a sense of relief and gratitude. So when the real challenges come, and they will, that's life, you'll find you're not thrown off balance as much. You'll remember you kind of saw it coming, and you'll handle it better than you would have otherwise. It's a subtle practice, but over time it builds a sturdy, unshakable attitude. Rule 6. Remember you will die, memento mori. This might sound a bit dark at first, reminding yourself that you will die. But stick with me. Rule number 6, known by the Latin phrase memento mori, is one of the most powerful wake-up calls in Stoic practice. It means, remember that you must die. And it's not about being morbid. It's about making sure you truly live and appreciate life. Why think about something as heavy as death? The point isn't to be depressed. It's to put things in perspective. When you keep in mind that our time here is limited, suddenly a lot of trivial worries and petty conflicts lose their grip on you. Think about it. If today were literally your last day alive, would you spend it stewing over that embarrassing thing you did last week? Would you hold on to that grudge against your friend? Probably not. You'd likely call up the people you care about and tell them you love them. You'd maybe step outside and be in awe of the simple beauty of the world, like the way the sun feels, or how your favorite song sounds. You'd focus on what truly matters to you. Ancient Stoics would sometimes remind themselves each morning that they might not live to see the evening. Far from making them despair, it gave them a sense of urgency to do good and live fully. If you knew this week was your last week on earth, you'd make sure to spend your time meaningfully, right? Memento mori is a mindset that urges us. Don't waste time on the useless stuff. Don't procrastinate on the important stuff. And never forget to tell your people that you care about them. Now, we obviously can't live every day like it's literally the last day. We'd never go to work or pay bills. But we can live with an awareness that life is fragile and precious. We can pause when we're about to get angry over a minor inconvenience and ask, is this how I want to spend a slice of my limited life? We can catch ourselves mindlessly scrolling on our phones for hours and think, if I only had one more year to live, is this what I'd be doing right now? These questions can jolt you into refocusing on what's meaningful. Memento mori also helps with gratitude, tying into Rule 12 later. When you remember that nothing is guaranteed, not even waking up tomorrow, you tend to value each moment more. A boring day is a day you're alive and breathing, which beats the alternative. A hug from a loved one, or even the fact that you can walk or see or hear, starts to feel like a gift when you consider that one day you won't have those abilities. Some people keep reminders of memento mori, like a coin or a poster, or even just a daily journal note. You don't have to dwell on death all the time, but a gentle nudge each day can keep you aligned with your priorities. It gives you courage to take risks, since hey, we're all ending up in the same place eventually, might as well go for what matters. And it helps you let go of fears and grudges. In short, remembering you will die is actually about remembering to live. It cuts through the noise and resets your priorities to what truly counts. As a result, you start living more intentionally, lovingly, and authentically. And that is life-changing. Rule 7, take action. Don't waste time or excuses. By now, several of these Stoic rules have a common theme. Life is short and precious. So it's no surprise that rule number 7 is all about action. In simple terms, stop waiting and start doing. Don't put off the important things, and don't let excuses hold you back from moving forward. We all have dreams or tasks we've been postponing. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll start exercising when I'm less busy, or I'll finally write that book, or change careers once I feel more confident. It's easy to delay because taking action often feels scary or hard. But remember what we just talked about. Time is flying, and tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Stoicism urges us, if something is worth doing, do it now. Imagine two people who both want to learn a new language. One spends months just reading about the best way to learn, waiting for the perfect course or the perfect time, but never actually starts. The other person downloads a basic app or joins a class and begins practicing, even if they're nervous or busy. 6 months later, the one who took action will be miles ahead of the one who kept waiting. The difference isn't that one had more time or talent. It's that one acted while the other hesitated. Taking action is a habit, and so is procrastination. The more you delay, the easier it becomes to keep delaying. The more you push yourself to take even a small step, the easier it becomes to take the next. Stoics believed in living philosophy, meaning they didn't want to just think about what was right. They wanted to do it. You gain wisdom by applying these rules in real life, not just knowing them intellectually. Now, let's be honest. Action can lead to failure. Stoics were not naive about that, but they'd say failing is often better than doing nothing, because failure is an experience and a teacher. Remember Rule 3, there's opportunity even in obstacles. If you try and fail, you can adjust and try again. If you never try, you've already failed by default because you haven't even given yourself a chance. One powerful Stoic idea is to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I try this? And then, what's the best that can happen? Often our fears exaggerate the worst case scenario. And even when the worst case isn't great, Rule 5 was negative visualization, has you prepared to handle it anyway. Meanwhile, the best case scenario could be life-changing. Don't rob yourself of that potential just because of fear or inertia. So whether it's adopting a healthier lifestyle, mending a relationship, starting a business, or speaking up for something important, take that first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it won't be perfect, and that's fine. Start before you're ready, and you will learn and improve as you go. No more someday. Make it day one instead. As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The Stoics would nod in agreement. Life rewards action. When you consistently take initiative, you create momentum that can carry you to places you once only dreamed of. And even if things don't go exactly as hoped, you'll be far better off than if you had done nothing. You'll have a life filled with experiences and growth instead of regrets. Rule 8. Prioritize character over success. In our modern world, it's easy to equate success with money, status, or applause from others. But Stoic rule number 8 is a reminder of a deeper truth. True success lies in your character, not in your status. In other words, being a good person matters more than looking successful or impressing others. Think about people you admire deeply. Is it their bank account and job title that truly inspire you? Or is it their honesty, courage, generosity, or resilience? The Stoics held the view that things like wealth, fame, and even health are nice to have, but not ultimately who you are. What really defines you is how you act, your integrity, your kindness, your sense of justice, your self-discipline. These are things that no one can take away from you, and that you have control over, unlike external success, which can be fleeting or dependent on others. Prioritizing character means that you won't compromise your values just to get ahead. For instance, if you have the chance to make a lot of money by cheating or hurting someone, a Stoic would say it's not worth it, because you'd be damaging your most precious asset, your virtue. Similarly, if being honest or doing the right thing comes at a personal cost, the Stoic attitude is that it's worth it, because you'll keep your integrity, and that's priceless. Now, this might sound high-minded, but it's very practical. If you focus on being excellent in character, you actually increase your chances of other kinds of success too. People trust and like those who are consistent and principled. But even if external success doesn't come, you'll have something better: self-respect and inner peace. On the flip side, we've all heard of or known people who had it all externally, but were miserable because they felt empty or knew they achieved it by compromising themselves. Imagine a scenario. You're up for a promotion at work. A colleague suggests that if you badmouth a third co-worker or take credit for something you didn't do, you could secure the promotion. You might get the title and raise, external success, but you'd know you acted dishonorably. According to Stoic wisdom, that kind of victory is actually a loss, because you hurt your character. Alternatively, you refuse to play dirty. Maybe you don't get the promotion, or maybe you do. Regardless, you can hold your head high. You remain truthful and fair. That's a lasting win because it builds a reputation with others, and most importantly, with yourself, that you are trustworthy. Prioritizing character also helps when external things inevitably falter. If your identity is tied up in being top of your class or the best at your job, what happens if one day you're not? You might feel crushed or lost. But if your identity is grounded in, I'm someone who works hard and treats people well, then even if circumstances change, you remain intact. You can carry that sense of self into any situation. So measure success by your virtues. Ask, am I acting with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control, rather than, did I get the most praise or profit? This shift protects you from chasing empty rewards. It also gives you confidence, because you know who you are, and that who you are isn't at the mercy of the market, or opinions, or luck. It's built from your choices, and those choices, guided by good character, will lead to a more genuinely successful life, one where you respect yourself and earn the respect of those who matter. Rule 9. Stop seeking others' approval. Do you ever catch yourself overly worried about what others think of you? Maybe you hesitate to wear something you like, or you hold back sharing your ideas, or you feel crushed by a bit of criticism. If so, you're definitely not alone. Rule number 9 is all about freeing yourself from this mental prison. Stop seeking the approval of others and focus on living by your own values. The need for approval is a common human trap. We naturally want to belong and be liked. There's nothing wrong with that in itself, but it becomes a problem when fear of others' opinions starts dictating your decisions and self-worth. The Stoics pointed out that basing your happiness on external validation is a recipe for misery, because you simply cannot control what other people think. Remember Rule 1. Others' opinions are firmly in the can't control zone. Imagine you're at a crossroads in life. Perhaps you want to switch careers to something you truly love, but you worry your family or friends will think it's foolish. You could stick with the current path to please them, but then you're living their life, not yours. Or you could make the change, knowing some people might not get it. Stoicism would advise, do what aligns with your principles and what you feel is right for you, kindly and firmly. And let people have their opinions. They'll have them anyway. This doesn't mean you become a rebel without a cause, doing the opposite of what people want just to prove a point. It means you thoughtfully decide what is right and do it, regardless of whether it garners praise or criticism. A side effect of this approach is actually often respect. People might not agree with you, but many will respect you for standing by your convictions. And those who don't? Well, you'll be too busy living your life to worry much about it. Think of how liberating it is when you see someone who clearly doesn't chase approval. Perhaps you know someone who is unapologetically themselves. They dress how they like, pursue their unique interests, and politely shrug off gossip or judgment. Those people inspire us because they seem free and confident. Stoicism teaches that you can be that person in your own way, not by being indifferent to others in a cruel way, but by not needing their approval to be at peace. A practical tip. Next time you're stressing about what someone thinks, ask yourself, will their opinion pay my bills or make me truly happy? Probably not. And will I even care about this opinion a year from now? Unlikely. Often, the harsh spotlight we imagine on us is mostly in our imagination. People are generally more focused on their own lives than on judging ours, and even if they judge, opinions change with the wind. When you stop chasing approval, you reclaim huge mental energy. You can redirect that energy towards things that actually matter to you: your work, your passions, your loved ones, and your own growth. You'll find a new level of confidence when you validate yourself rather than seeking it externally. You become the author of your story, rather than trying to edit yourself to fit someone else's expectations. In short, live authentically. Do good, be kind, as we talk about in Rule 10, and then let go of the urge to control how others see you. Ironically, the less you crave approval, the more at ease and admirable you become. Rule 10. Be kind and forgiving. Treat others with understanding. Stoicism is often thought of as a philosophy of personal toughness, but one of its core teachings is actually about kindness and fairness toward others. Rule number 10 reminds us, be kind, patient, and forgiving with people, even when it's not easy. In essence, treat others the way you'd want to be treated, because we're all imperfect human beings doing the best we can. Each morning, one Stoic philosopher king would deliberately remind himself that he would encounter all sorts of difficult people that day. People who were selfish, ignorant, or rude. He knew that was inevitable, but he also reminded himself that these people often acted that way out of ignorance or stress, and that he had faults too. This exercise helped him prepare to meet others with understanding rather than rage. We can all do something similar in our lives. Think about it. Has anyone ever been rude to you when they were having a bad day? Or have you ever snapped at someone you love because you were stressed or hurt about something else? We all have. People make mistakes, say things they shouldn't, or fail to meet our expectations. The Stoic approach is to not rush to judgment or revenge when this happens. Instead, try to keep your cool and see the person behind the behavior. For example, if a stranger is aggressive toward you, maybe a driver yells at you on the road or a customer snaps at you at work, the immediate impulse might be to fight fire with fire. But kindness in this case might mean you don't escalate. You perhaps give a polite wave, or you just calmly apologize even if you weren't at fault, and move on. Not because you're weak, but because you choose peace over pointless conflict. You might even feel compassion. Wow, that person must be really struggling, or having a bad day to act like that. In more personal relationships, kindness and forgiveness are even more powerful. If a friend or family member disappoints you, you certainly can address it. But Stoicism would advise doing so with empathy. Maybe they let you down, but consider their perspective. Did they mean to? Are they battling something you don't fully see? None of this means you accept genuinely toxic behavior or never set boundaries. Kindness isn't about being a doormat. It's about responding back to Rule 4, thoughtfully, instead of reacting with anger. Forgiveness, too, is a gift you give yourself as much as others. Holding on to anger or grudges only prolongs your own suffering. When you forgive, you're not saying what you did is okay. You're saying, I'm not going to let what you did make me bitter forever. It's freeing. The Stoics understood that anger is a destructive emotion that hurts the bearer more than anyone. So letting go of anger through forgiveness and understanding is a kind of self-care. Choosing kindness in a harsh world can indeed feel like a superpower. People might even be taken aback by it because it's not the norm. But often it's disarming. It can turn situations around, and even if it doesn't, you walk away with your integrity intact and your heart unburdened. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle, as the saying goes. Stoicism encourages us to be firm in our values, but gentle with people. It doesn't mean tolerating injustice or never speaking up. It means when you do take a stand, you do it without hatred. You can be strong and kind at the same time. In fact, real strength often shows up as calm kindness in moments where others would explode. So whether it's forgiving a friend's mistake, showing patience with a difficult colleague, or simply smiling at the cashier and saying thank you, make kindness your default. It makes your world and the world better, one interaction at a time. Rule 11. Keep the big picture in mind. When you're in the thick of a problem, it can feel all-consuming. Stoic Rule 11 encourages you to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This means remembering how small a single moment or issue is in the grand scheme of your life and of the world. Imagine you're looking at the Earth from far away, like an astronaut in space. From up there, you can't see the traffic jam or the argument or the coffee stain on your shirt that you're so upset about. You just see a beautiful tiny planet. This thought experiment, often called the view from above, was something the Stoics practiced to gain perspective. When you keep the big picture in mind, you realize that many of the things that stress you out are not as big as they seem. Let's say you got a bad grade on an exam or messed up at work. In the moment, it feels like a disaster. But zoom out. Will this matter in 5 years? Will anyone even remember it in 1 year? Probably not. It's a small bump on a long road. Or maybe you're embarrassed because you said something silly at a party. Sure, it feels huge now as you replay it in your mind, but consider how many conversations everyone has in their lives. It's likely a tiny blip for everyone else, forgotten by tomorrow. Keeping perspective also means recognizing that life is full of change and everything passes. That terrible day or week you're having, it will eventually end. The heartbreak you're going through, it will ease with time. Sometimes just reminding yourself, this is just one chapter, not my whole story, can give you hope and patience to endure. Another aspect of the big picture is gratitude, which is closely tied to our next rule. When you step back, you often see not only what's troubling you, but also all the other things that are going okay or well. Maybe you're stressed about one project, but in the big picture, you have supportive family or friends. You're healthy, you have opportunities ahead. Those good things can get lost when we zoom in too much on one problem. It can also help to remember the common humanity of our experiences. Billions of people have lived before you, and many have gone through exactly what you're facing. Breakups, job loss, illness, mistakes. In the big picture of human history, your problem is not weird or unendurable. It's part of being human. And just as many of those people got through it, so can you. A practical way to apply this: when you're stressed or upset, literally say to yourself, time to zoom out. Take a mental step back. Imagine yourself looking at the situation as an objective observer, or from the future looking back, ask, how much will this actually matter later? Or, what else in my life is still good? This doesn't magically fix the issue at hand, but it resizes it. It shrinks the monster in your head down to a more manageable size. The big picture perspective is a bit like flying above the storm clouds. When you're on the ground in the storm, it's dark and chaotic. But if you rise above, you see the sun is still shining up there, and the storm is just a temporary weather pattern, not an endless night. By remembering the big picture, you suffer less in tough times, and you also cherish the good times, knowing they are a part of a larger journey. Carry this rule with you and see how it changes your stress levels. It's a lot harder for small annoyances to ruin your day when you realize they're just tiny specks in the vast canvas of your life. Rule 12. Practice gratitude. Daily. Our final rule might be the simplest, but it's incredibly powerful. Practice gratitude every day. After all the talk of discipline, perspective, and resilience, this one might seem almost too easy. But gratitude is like a secret sauce that enhances all the other Stoic principles and brings immediate positivity into your life. Why is gratitude so important? Because it shifts your focus to what is good and working in your life. No matter how hard things get, there's always something to be thankful for, even if it's just the breath in your lungs or the fact that you have another day to try again. When you make a habit of acknowledging these things, you train your mind to notice blessings instead of just problems. Think about how you feel on a day when everything seems to be going wrong. You missed your alarm, spilled coffee on yourself, and your plans fell through. By evening, you might label the whole day terrible. But even on such a day, maybe a friend sent a kind text that made you smile, or you had a nice lunch, or simply that you have a warm bed to sleep in at night. Gratitude doesn't erase difficulties, but it balances them. It reminds you that life isn't all bad, ever. The Stoics didn't use the word gratitude constantly, but it was woven into their approach. They believed in valuing what you have and not taking things for granted. One Stoic writer suggested that we routinely reflect on how much we already have and imagine how we'd feel if we suddenly lost those things. Not to be sad, but to stop taking them for granted. This technique, he noted, is a powerful way to realize that we are often richer than we think. curbing feelings of lack or envy. How can you practice gratitude? There are many ways, and you can find what works for you. Morning or evening. Reflection. Start or end your day by thinking of a few things you're grateful for. They can be big, I'm grateful for my family, or small, I'm grateful for that really good cup of coffee this morning. The key is to actually feel the appreciation, not just list it. Write it down. Some people keep a gratitude journal, jotting down 3 things each day. The act of writing can make it more real and something you can look back on when you need a boost. Express it. Say thank you more often. To your partner for doing the dishes. To your coworker for their help. To the barista who made your drink. And not just out of politeness, but sincerely. Notice the good in others and acknowledge it. Appreciate in the moment. Whenever you feel joy or comfort, pause for a second and mentally say, I'm thankful for this moment. Sitting in the sun for a minute, enjoy it and be grateful. Laughing at a meme, be grateful for laughter. The immediate effect of gratitude is that it softens negative emotions. You can't feel deeply angry or scared at the same time as feeling grateful. The emotions are mutually exclusive to an extent. Gratitude brings you back to center. It also makes you realize that even if you have a long way to go, or you're in a tough spot, not everything is bad. There's hope and goodness still present. Over time, a grateful mindset builds resilience. When you're grateful, challenges don't break you as easily because you have an anchor of positivity. You remember what's worth fighting for and what sustains you. Gratitude also improves relationships. People love to feel appreciated, and your genuine thankfulness strengthens those bonds. So as you go forward with all these Stoic life rules, let gratitude be the light that guides you. No matter what day you've had, end it by acknowledging something good. And every morning, start with thanks for the chance to experience a new day. It's a habit that literally rewires your brain for happiness and keeps you grounded in what truly matters. With gratitude in your heart, you'll find it much easier to practice all the other rules, focusing on what you can control, being resilient, staying kind, because you're coming from a place of abundance rather than lack. It's a beautiful, empowering way to live. You've now got in your hands 12 powerful, Stoic life rules. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It's action that counts. Remember Rule 7. So take these insights and try them out. You don't have to master them all at once. Even if 1 or 2 of these rules stick with you and shape your choices starting today, you'll likely notice a real difference in your stress, your relationships, and your overall outlook. Perhaps focus on 1 rule per week, or whichever one resonated the most with you. Put a reminder on your phone, or a sticky note on your mirror, whatever it takes to keep it in mind. Over time, these Stoic habits of mind will become more natural, and you'll find yourself navigating life with more calm and confidence. Remember, life will still have ups and downs. Stoicism doesn't remove challenges. It helps you meet them with a resilient spirit. With practice, you'll worry less about things you can't change. You'll recover faster from setbacks, and you'll spend more time on what truly matters to you. That's the kind of transformation these ancient but timeless rules can offer. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time investing in yourself. If you found value here, don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing ideas, and give this video a thumbs up so we can reach more people. I'd love to hear in the comments which Stoic rule resonated with you the most, or any experiences you've had applying these ideas.